Good morning. This is the Blaine's World podcast that can be found each week on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You can also listen in on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and you can get more information and listen to previous shows on our website, www.blainesworld.net. I'm your host, Blaine Greenfield, and here in my Zoom studio in lovely downtown Fairview, North Carolina. And each week we focus on positive news and information about people and organizations in both Western North Carolina and throughout the country. And to that end, it's my pleasure to introduce Jim Davidson, founder and chairman of Walk in the Park, a Rotary event. And he does a lot of other cool stuff. But before we begin, Jim, you can wave to all your fans and friends who are watching this. So you want to give them a big wave? That's okay. That's Jim. And you can ignore, by the way, the name on the bottom is not Jim, but this is actually the Jim Davidson. Jim grew up in New Jersey, land of high taxes. So true. Okay. After retiring, he moved to Candler and soon joined the Rotary Club of Asheville. He was active in Rotary in New Jersey, where he coordinated a successful fundraising event, Walk in the Park, for 7 years. And this is the second annual event here in Asheville coming up on June 11th. Jim was a high school history teacher, ran 3 companies, wrote several history books, including 2 on the Lindbergh kidnapping trial. He just finished another book on the subject, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. In addition, I should mention, Jim, you're a recent graduate of Leadership Asheville, is that correct?
Leadership Asheville, class of 41.
Okay, very nice. Yeah, I forgot what class number I was. Did you learn the secret handshake yet? Did they show it to you? Or that's
It's a lot like Ralph Cramden and the Raccoons.
Okay, I don't see that hat with you back there, but I look forward to that next time. So, Jim, you're amazing guy and very interesting guy. And I remember we spoke to you maybe about a year ago on this one event. But Bark in the Park has to do with dogs. Are you a dog owner also?
I am. I have 2 dogs,
Okay.
Pomeranians.
Were you always a dog owner?
Yeah, I always had like real dogs. I used to have Great Pyrenees.
Oh, wow.
And my fiance has 2 Pomeranians, which aren't quite the same.
So as a kid, did you also have dogs?
No, not really. Every dog I ever had bit me, so we didn't have them too long.
Oh, so I'm surprised you jumped back into it. What got you?
Well, I was in Rotary in Flemington, New Jersey, scene
Right.
of the Lindbergh kidnapping trial. And I was in the Rotary. Well, my father was in the Flemington Club for 60 years. And I was in it for about 20 years before I moved down here. And I'm a pretty good organizer. So I started this Bark in the Park dog event, and we always end up with a big parade of dogs. And I brought it down here, and I suggested to the club down here something new. The thing I like about this is not only is it a fundraiser, but it gets people out that normally would not be exposed to Rotary. We probably had 400 people and their dogs out last year. We were at Carrier Park, which is where we'll be again this year on June 11th. And we had tons of dog vendors, all kinds of food trucks. And then we had dog contests that you could enroll your dog in at the end of the day. But my favorite thing is during the day, usually around noontime, all the dogs get together and we have a big parade around a set route in Carrier Park. And I'll tell you what, seeing 300 or 400 dogs in a parade is really kind of cool. So, and you might have pictures of that that you can show later.
We're going to show them in just a bit, hopefully. But let me ask you this, Jim. So what gave you the idea originally in New Jersey? So you were the first. Did you originate it in New Jersey?
No, actually, I was reading the Rotarian magazine.
Right.
And they were talking about a Rotary Club in Washington State that had done this and raised tons of money. And so I started it in New Jersey, and I had a lot of Rotary clubs approach me about, well, how'd you do it? We heard it was a big success. So it was, it's a lot of fun to do. And in, I guess, 8 years now that I've run this event, I've only ever had to throw one dog out.
Why'd the dog get thrown out?
It was a damn little Chihuahua, and the damn dog bit everybody and
Oh,
every dog. So I had to throw him out.
got disqualified, really?
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
goodness. But that's pretty good odds. But the only bad thing I'm hearing about this contest is that because you've run it now, both in New Jersey and in this area. So does this mean this is going to be your permanent claim to fame in Asheville, that you're the guy who runs these events?
Well, I hope that's not my claim to fame. There's other things I'd rather have as a claim to fame, but um, it's been interesting. And last year was hard because it was the first year I had just moved here from New Jersey and I didn't know people. I only got the idea to do it down here because Asheville is the most dog-friendly town I ever saw. I mean, dogs are in restaurants all over. They're walking through Home Depot and every other place. So it was a success last year. We made money and we had fun. So
By the
we'll
way,
try it again this year.
you mentioned something interesting, which I wonder about, that like I know Asheville, lots of people outdoor dining and you see lots of dogs, but lately, and is this legal or it's done? I'll go into stores and I'll see dogs walking through
Oh
the
yeah.
stores. I'm not talking
What?
just like not the pet store, but other
Oh yeah.
stores as
Oh, I
well.
know. They're all over the place.
Is that legal or are you
I
allowed to do that?
guess the only thing I worry about, and this happened. I was in a store up off of Airport Road, and this woman brought her dog in, and he went to the bathroom in the store.
Right.
And quite frankly, I don't understand why people take their dogs in a public place like that. I mean, they have wag bars in Asheville where you can take your dog and sit outside. I've been in places where you can take your dog inside. You have to keep them next to you. But just to have a dog walk around a place like Lowe's or Walmart or something like that, kind of, I don't know, it's just disconcerting to me. I would
No,
never take my dogs in.
well, to me too. And like you said, it used to be that I'd see plenty of restaurants, and that's cool. You're outside, you
Yeah,
have your dog with you. But
yeah.
inside, I was saying, like you said, maybe a Lowe's or something, and all of a sudden this person was walking with a dog, and I had only seen that recently,
Yeah.
Um, with your
Well,
dogs,
I would be concerned. I would be concerned, especially if you have a big dog. You know, you turn around um, to look for something, and the dog is right behind, and you
right?
startle him, and he bites you or something.
Yeah.
I mean, if the guy who owned it had a big house, that would be fine because then I'd own it. But
Do you bring your dogs anywhere?
uh, I never take him in a store. I take him in the car for a ride if I'm going someplace, but I never take him out like that.
Now,
So
I'm wondering, so this upcoming event, and you mentioned you have right now, or your fiance owns the uh,
yeah, right.
two small dogs. Will they be entered in this event in
Oh
June?
yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
So at this event, we have 7 or 8 different dog contests. And it was so crazy last year to see these people with their dogs. So we had the most look-alike dog, and there were some people that looked just like their dogs, which was
Yeah,
somewhat scary.
yeah.
Uh, we had the prettiest dog contest, and we probably had 25 dogs enter that. And then we had the ugliest dog contest, and we had several dogs. And let me tell you, the one that won was really ugly.
Well, talk about that, Jim, because that particular event always bothers my wife. She says you shouldn't, make fun of ugly dogs, but
Well, we don't call it the ugly dog. We call it the face only a mother could love contest.
great title. So, and you have a bunch of people enter that
Oh
contest?
yeah. And then we had the largest dog contests, and there were some, Great Danes and Mastiffs and all this in there. And then we had the smallest dog. The smallest dog weighed about 1 pound. It was
Wow.
like this big. The woman came and it was in her coat pocket. I had never seen a dog that small.
Had it just been born?
It was a teacup something.
You're
I
right.
don't
Had
know.
it just been born?
No, it was
Yeah.
full grown.
Because yeah, so we were walking the other day somewhere and somebody had a teacup pet. I've never seen that
Yeah.
such small dog. How big was the largest one?
Well, what was really funny is the woman that won the largest one also won the smallest one.
Oh, did she
She had
really?
she had a giant mastiff that was like 185 pounds or something.
Can you imagine? That must have been hysterical. Can you see this woman walking around with
Well, I
one?
don't think she took the two of them on a leash at the same time. Well, I don't think she ever took the small one. She just kept it in her pocket all the time.
Wow, that's interesting. How many different ballpark? How many different breeds, or can you even
Oh,
guess at
I
that?
don't know. There's probably 50 different breeds there.
Now, do you think you'll have more than 400 this year?
I have no idea.
Okay,
We'll have to see. I mean, the first year I did this, it rained. And
yeah.
I said, well, nobody's going to go out for a dog walk in the rain. There were 200 people there in raincoats when I got there. I thought, oh, man.
With the dogs in raincoats too?
No, no, but some of them actually have raincoats. I've
Right.
seen them on dogs, but anyway.
I can think of another category if you don't do it. You have a most fashionable dog or the
Well, we
best.
have another contest where they can get dressed up in a costume.
Okay.
So we have that. But one of the highlights was we had the Asheville police there, a detective with her police dog.
Right. I know that. What's the name of the dog? I interviewed her and the dog on my show too. But I
I
know
don't,
who you're talking about.
I can't remember.
I know who you're talking about. Right.
So the woman says, this is where my big mouth got me into it. She said, I'd like a volunteer from the audience. So I naturally raised my hand and she gave a command to the dog, and the dog took me right down to the ground
Oh.
and laid on me. And the dog was really heavy. And she's talking to the crowd, and this dog is laying on me and laying on me and laying on me. I'm thinking, oh man, get me out from under this dog. So I barely could get up off the ground by the time I got done. But that woman had so many different hand commands,
Yeah.
and it was really interesting.
W-
So
Was
we're going to
that
have them here again this year too.
was that the intent for the dog to lay on top of you so you couldn't escape?
Yes,
That was the
yes,
idea.
right.
So,
So,
boy, I'd like to see a video or picture of that. And let me just, by
well,
the way,
there might be one in
well,
that group of pictures.
well, let me jump in then. We're going to see in a second here, because these stories are great stories, and I'm just chuckling at them. I'm going to see if I can bring up some of the pictures. So let me just pause for a second.
Sure.
And Jim, I have to tell you, those pictures were fantastic. And so I'll mention to anybody watching this, if they or listen to it, if they want to see the pictures, just go to the YouTube page or blainesworld.net, and you'll be able to see the pictures of the dogs. But talk about the event then, if I can, in terms of people wanting to find out more about the event. What's the best bet?
The easiest thing is to go to the website, Rotary website, www.rotaryasheville.org. And you can see the pictures from last year there as well, plus all of the information about how to register, all the different contests we have. And we'll be putting up a listing of all the vendors and everything that'll be there probably this week.
So they can register online, is that correct?
Right, right.
Now,
Or you can just show up that day and we can register you in person at the pavilion at Carrier Park.
Now you were mentioning, and I think it's a bargain, plus the money's going for a good cause. To enter any of the contests is a $10 fee, I think you said?
$10 fee to get in and $5 to register for each contest you want to register in.
Okay. And let me ask you that, can people register more than one contest?
Oh yeah, yeah. We had some people register for 3 or 4 contests.
Oh, they were able to time-wise?
Well, the prizes are generally big baskets full of dog treats and things like that. So
No, but I'm saying, but you're able to get, if you could register, the events, I guess, are at separate times, so you could get to
yeah,
participate?
yeah, we'll do one contest after another. So
How about if somebody wants to be a vendor or sponsor? How do they go about doing that?
the easiest way is to email me, jdavid4194@AOL, and then we'll have a conversation online. I want to make sure we don't have many of the same vendors. We want to have a good assortment of people bringing baked goods. This year we have somebody that is a pet scoot to do that goes and they pick up dog poop on your property.
I read about that, right?
Yeah, and we get all kinds of different vendors. So if somebody's interested, I think, as I mentioned before, we have 3 food vendors there, and it's just going to be a great time.
Now, one of the other things that I think folks should know, and I don't think this made it into this tape yet, but if you come to the event, especially if you register to participate in it, it's for a good cause. And
Oh
why don't
yeah,
I, since you've been such an active Rotary member, why don't you talk a little bit about the good cause and what Rotary does with
okay.
some of this money?
Well, I love Rotary. I've been in 2 clubs for 30 years now. Rotary is an international organization. They have 38,000 clubs. 3 are in Asheville, by the way, and they're in 150 countries, and they have 1.5 million members. And we just sent $35,000 to Ukraine
Hmm.
through a Ukrainian Rotary Club to help over there. Or this particular event, some of the money goes to the Asheville Rotary Club. We do a lot with scholarships. Last year, with all the different events that we funded, different organizations, we gave over $150,000 away to the community. Part of the revenues from this will go to Brother Wolf to help their fostering organization, which never go into Brother Wolf because you'll walk out with something.
Well, you're so right, Jim. We made the mistake that we my wife had one of her pets had passed, and she went to foster a cat,
Yeah,
and they say that that's the worst thing you can do, because I guess there are a lot of failed fosters. I don't know if you've ever done this, but
no,
that
I
cat
haven't.
I think after a couple of days that became, we adopted the cat. So good
No,
advice that if you well, same thing to this event. Very exciting. She said last year, what, 7 or 8 pets got adopted from the event?
yeah, probably.
Yeah, so very exciting. And the people still have a chance to do that as well this year.
And I'm not sure if your listeners know about Brother Wolf, but they do an incredible job. That and Asheville Humane
In
Society, the
society.
2 of them do an incredible amount of help with dogs and cats. And actually, the Humane Society has some horses and pigs. They get into everything. But when I met with the director of Brother Wolf the other day, Leah Craig,
Right.
she told me that they have 190 dogs in foster care. And when they have some openings in their actual facility where people have adopted out a dog, they'll bring in some of the foster care dogs into the facility. But I couldn't believe they had 190 dogs in foster care.
Yeah, and you give people who do that, like I said, a lot of credit.
Yeah, right.
Because I know I would think it'd be very hard to foster, in that you want to keep the pet, but a lot of good people out there in terms of the community. So you mentioned Brother Wolf will certainly be at the event. And let me ask you this, in terms of your opinion, who should come to this event to watch it? Even if you don't want to enter a dog, who's this event for?
Well, I think anybody that wants to have a good time should come. I mean, we had lots of people that were just strolling through the park last year come over and take in everything that was going on. It's just a super fun event for the community.
And you mentioned the one good thing is, even if it's bad weather, the event's going to be held.
Yep,
Okay. When you were in Jersey, did you ever have bad weather?
only one time.
Okay, but
200 people showed up in raincoats.
okay, you mentioned too, people can feel free to have their dogs come in
Yeah,
raincoats as well.
yeah, right.
Do people do that? Occasionally I'll see that. Have
Yeah, occasionally, but usually if it's raining outside, either I don't go out, or if I'm out, I'm not looking for dogs in their raincoats, you know.
So that's something. That do your dogs like the rain?
No.
No. Now, people want to know this very important question, that even though you're running it, your dogs will still be in the event itself, competing in the
Oh yeah.
event.
Yeah.
Okay. So who watches your dogs when you're running the event?
Usually I pawn them off on some unsuspecting person that's there.
Okay, so anyway, a lot of fun. Congratulations on lots of good stuff. And I mentioned to you off the air, we want to have you again on a second show, talk about your book. So
Okay.
the question is then, so after June, you have the book done, you have the this event done. What happens next for you?
Well, I have a new hobby.
Which is?
So all my life in New Jersey, I owned horses. I had 2 horse farms over the years. And I had a lot of acreage. And when I moved down here, I ended up in Candler with an acre piece of property.
Okay.
And I knew I wasn't going to have a horse down here. So I sold 40 years worth of horse equipment, sold all my horses. And this is how Rotary can change your life. So 2 months ago, when I came down here, the only thing I brought horse related was a helmet in case I found there was a stable someplace I could go on a trail ride. So I get down here, and 2 months ago, we had a new member induction, and this person had to give a little biography about herself. So this woman said, I had a life-changing experience that brought me to Asheville. She said, I worked for multinational corporations. I lived in China twice. I lived in Paris. I lived in San Francisco. And I heard a speaker speak one time. It said, what would you do if you discovered you only had 6 months to live? She said, that changed my life. I got out of the multinational corporations and moved to Asheville and opened up my own company. So I'm thinking about this and I'm thinking about it. I said, heck, man, I'm buying a horse. So I went out and bought a horse, and I go and I ride it every day.
Very cool. Really?
Yeah.
But you don't have it in your backyard?
No, I have it. I have it stabled off of Brevard Road.
Oh, good for you though. So you
So
still kept your interest in horses.
I did, and I'm 76. My wife said, or fiance said, I can't believe you're buying a horse. You have 2 bad knees. You have 2 bad hips. I said, yep. And I go out and I take care of that horse and I ride it almost every day.
Great story. That story you want to tell me, by the way?
That's the one I wanted to tell you. So I want
it.
you to think about this. When we get off the airplane, what would you do if you had 6 months to live?
Yeah, it's good.
It
Good
haunted
question.
me, I have to tell you.
But it's a very powerful question. And Jim, this was just so much fun. I just want to thank you again for being my guest on this edition of Blaine's World podcast. Also thank my producer, Cappy Tassetti, and remind people that if you want to come to an amazing event, come to Walk in the Park, the Rotary event. The date again is
June 11th, Sunday.
June 11th at Carrier Park, was it?
Carrier Park off in the River Arts District.
Okay, and make sure you at least say hello to Jim, and you'll have a good time. And thanks, man. I really enjoyed this.
And I'm expecting to see you there too, Blaine.
Appreciate it, buddy. Okay,
Yeah.
see ya.
Bye.